I created a nostalgic-looking short film in under 16 hours using nothing but my voice, video editing software, and 6 different AI tools. But why? The video AI company, RUNWAY ML, held a contest and opened up their suite of tools to anyone who registered. I thought, hey, I'm anyone, so I signed up as well. In the competition, we were given 60,000 AI minutes or 300,000 credits to create a 1 to 4 minute film in 48 hours. Additionally, we had to include 3 elements in the film from a list of numerous possible outcomes. 1 element for each of the 3 categories: character archetype, scene, and object. But I didn't have 48 hours like everyone else. I only had 16 hours to do the competition, so I needed to use my time wisely. I immediately jumped into ChatGPT and started with this prompt. I am a filmmaker using the AI tool RUNWAY ML to create a film for a 48-hour film festival. I'm going to add in the contest requirements, and you will be my writer's assistant, helping me to shape the story based on the contest prompt. Say ready when you understand and are awaiting input. ChatGPT came up with 15 different story combinations using the elements given by RUNWAY, but I wasn't sold on any of them, so I asked again. But nothing felt like me. As I looked at ChatGPT's generations over and over again, an idea for a story popped into my head. So I entered the info from my brain and let ChatGPT do its magic to help lightly structure a story. This loose story direction will be good enough for now. The elements I chose for the story were a creature from space, a grocery store, and an exit door. I then used a cinematic prompt in Midjourney to create hundreds of stills that I could use as starting points for RUNWAY ML. Thanks to CyberJungle for the amazing prompt structure. Make sure to watch their video in the description below if you want to learn how to generate cinematic images. And after I adjusted it, I made my prompt to be cinematic scene, dark aisle of a grocery store at night, 1984, wide shot, Kodak Porta 400, Steven Spielberg, motivated lighting, style raw, an aspect ratio of 16:9. Using my adjusted prompt, I kept generating and reprompting until I came up with the look and feel for the grocery store that I liked. After I finalized the look and feel of the setting for the 1980s grocery store, I used Midjourney again to come up with the creature design. After a few failed attempts of generating character sheets, I realized having a consistent creature would be very difficult, so I decided to change the story from one creature from outer space to a race of jellyfish blob-like creatures. This would give me a little leeway in the character design, and so every shot that my character was in wouldn't have to match perfectly, but would still be somewhat consistent. Once I found an image for a creature I liked, I used it as a reference for Midjourney and pasted it before my prompts. I kept prompting and reprompting, varying subtle and varying strong, until I had enough images to bring the story to life in RUNWAY Gen 2 image to video. RUNWAY is an amazing tool, and I didn't have to do too much except drop in the source image, play with motion controls, and hit generate. The key to making good shots with AI is small tweaks in the settings, consistent re-rolling, regeneration, and most of all, patience. After about 6 hours of generating hundreds of videos, I finally downloaded 47 of the most usable shots. They were a pretty small file size and the resolution wasn't quite what I'm used to with working with professional video. So I used Topaz AI to upscale the video files to a 4K ProRes MOV file, and I had the software add in some film grain to take away some of the AI smoothness that RUNWAY interpolation produces. Finally, it was time for the edit, which took the least amount of time. I used Adobe Premiere Pro in my normal editing workflow. I had the first cut in about an hour. I then added in some additional grain filters and film scratches to give it more of an 80s vibe, and to again hide some of the smoothness that the current AI tools produce. I nested my complete timeline, duplicated it, and added a fast blur effect to give the film a bloom-like feel that we're used to with cinematic lenses from the 80s. Once the visual story was locked into place, I wrote some voiceover based on the light outline I created with ChatGPT, and then recorded the performance on my phone. I then used Altered AI to morph my voice a bit, as it does a much better job as a voiceover actor than me. Just see for yourself.
A race of explorers looking for something to fill our soul.
A race of explorers looking for something to fill our soul. A race of explorers looking for something to fill our soul.
Finally, I used Adobe's Text AI tool to capture the video in text form and create subtitles for me. 16 hours and 6 AI tools later, I called it a day and was finished. Out of hundreds of submitted films, Let Us Explore is one of 8 to win an award for Best Character.
What is this place? A planet of plastic and profits. We have awakened from hypersleep. A race of explorers looking for something to fill our soul. once again caged. We must search, my friends, for a chance to break free. There has to be more to our life than this. We must find a way out, my friends. Let us walk out that door. Let us live life. Let us explore.
Have you ever wondered, why do films or videos made out of AI look like that? Not that, or that, or that, but why don't the scenes match up from shot to shot? You know, like in a real movie. Well, with the current AI tools available, it is extremely difficult to create consistent scenes or characters. In a traditional film or TV project, this shot-to-shot consistency is called coverage, as in, how are we going to cover this scene to get all the shots we need? Coverage consists of some terms you are probably familiar with, like wide shot, medium shot, close-up shot, etc. With a traditional physical or animation production, this is somewhat easy to execute. When you change your lens or the camera position, the camera moves its axis slightly every time you do a new camera setup. As a result, the camera's axis will always be slightly different from shot to shot, even if the scene itself is not changing. But with AI, it is much more difficult to generate a consistent wide, medium, or close-up shot within the same scene. This is because AI models are not yet able to understand the context of a complete scene and how different shots or angles should relate to one another. As a result, it is often difficult to create a scene that feels cohesive and natural. With that in mind, let's explore a few different approaches to making our AI films appear more cinematic within the limitations of the current AI tools available to us. This is a terrible term, but for now I'm calling this first option the crop duster, because we will be using the crop feature to find our shots and dust in new emotions into the scene. Like I said, a terrible, terrible name. If you can think of a better name, drop it in the comments below. A few weeks ago, I created this AI Christmas caroling video to test out this approach. To do so, I created two wide shots of the scene, one of the singing robots and another of the man listening to their odd song. The robot shot was relatively easy as I found the shot I wanted within my first few prompting attempts on Midjourney. It took a little time to nail the character look for the man, but eventually I got there. I loved this initial image because the eye lines between the man and his cross coverage of the robots somewhat matched, making it easier to put these two shots next to one another in the edit, and making it look like they were in the same place and time. Once I committed to this medium wide shot of the man, let's call him Steve from now on, I used the Vary Region in-painting feature on Midjourney to change the emotion on his face. At first I created something from the depths of... And then after many rerolls, Midjourney went on a Jake Gyllenhaal hallucination tour and started to turn all of Steve's faces into something resembling the actor. Going back to the drawing board, I only selected the regions of the eyebrows and lower jaw, which seemed to work, giving me the same shot but with many different emotions. I didn't need to worry about the emotions with the robots because, well, they're robots. Now normally I would take these shots straight into Runway to get them animated, but with this technique, I will need to first do the crop part of the crop duster. Because I use my custom-built PC, I use Microsoft's Photos to crop my shots, but you can use any photo editing app that you have access to. Keeping the aspect ratio locked on 16:9, I use the crop tool on the wide shot to, well, find my shot. Since the wide was already taken care of, I progressively cropped into the medium, close-up, and extreme close-up, adjusting my framing and composition for each shot, similar to what I would have done if I was filming this in real life. For some shots, I did multiple options of the framing, so I could have more choices later in editing. I did the same process to the shots of Steve, with his varying emotional expressions, until I had enough coverage to create a full scene. At this point, I took all the stills into Runway, creating numerous shots to be used later in the edit. I'm going to skip showing you the editing process for now, but don't worry, I will get into the full rundown of my process after I show you the next technique.
Taking tasks we had to deny, and learning within reply, wondering what chance go by. AI in ChatGPT. threat. AI has to replace you yet. Keep on laughing, live your life. In this new world we'll all survive. AI, sound
The second technique takes a similar approach to the crop duster, but does it all within Midjourney using the zoom out function, which is why I'm calling this the zoomer method. As with the first AI Christmas project, this technique starts with prompting in Midjourney. I wanted to make this fake commercial as true to the current day perfume ads as possible. So before I got started, I went to Dior's YouTube channel and watched way too many ads from over the past 5 years. After I did my hours of research, I had a loose concept in my head, a perfume ad alluding to the tale of Little Red Riding Hood. But in our story, it would be a forbidden love. Because these ads are generally short, I really only needed 3 shots to make the 12-second video. The shot of Little Red, the shot of Big Bad, and the final product shot of the his and her perfume. Starting with Little Red, I hopped into Midjourney and used this prompt to quickly get the results I was looking for. I chose the version I liked most with the character looking off screen. This gives us the opportunity to cut to another angle with matching eye lines, tying the scene together and making it seem like the 2 shots are in the same place. Now that I have my close-up of Little Red, I simply hit the Zoom Out 1.5 and Zoom Out 2 buttons, giving me the 3 shots I need to create coverage: a close-up, medium, and wide shot. For Big Bad, I took the same approach, but it took a little bit longer to get his look right. Once I found the right image, I noticed that both characters were looking in the same direction, camera left. Because this was a still photo, I fixed this easily by just doing a flop of the image, making it a perfect match to Little Red's eyeline. Once I knew this image would work, I created the medium and wide shots using the zoomer method. Next, I brought the clips into Runway and let it do its magic. Before adjusting any parameters, I usually let Runway have a go with 3 to 4 clips completely on its own. Sometimes you get lucky with a great shot right off the bat, but most times you need these clips to see how Runway interprets the scene without any direction. Consider it a camera rehearsal if you come from the traditional filmmaking world. At first I was having issues with Big Bad, as Runway wanted to turn the wolf into a man on every single occasion. But after some fine-tuning, I finally got it right. I didn't want a lot of movement with Little Red, so I focused the motion brush on her hair, paired with a slow dolly in. This technique works great most of the time, but sometimes we get a clip that looks like this. A full-blown f***ing trip to Uncanny Valley. After getting the shots I knew would work, I wanted to try a wraparound camera move to mimic the off-angle shot that you get with traditional coverage. After a few failed attempts, I was able to get the shot where I wanted, and in my opinion, it looks amazing. The product shot of the perfume was relatively easy, as Runway does a great job with small dolly moves. But I did take my time to do this right and get a few shots that were usable, dollying left, dollying right, dollying in, and dollying out, just to see what was possible. After Runway, I downloaded all the clips I wanted to use and up-res them with Topaz AI, making them 4K ProRes MOV files that would provide high quality and a smooth edit process. During the edit, I first organized my clips on the timeline, changing the color so I know what shot is what. I marked the best shots I found with gold and started to build my edit around these awesome clips. Once I had a rough cut of the best clips, I popped over to Artlist and actually found my music track extremely quick from the recommended for you section. If you want to give Artlist a try, there's a referral link in the description below. Once I tightened the edit to the music, I quickly went to the color profile in Adobe and did a quick color pass on all the clips. So far the video is looking great, but still has an issue that many AI films face, the dreaded AI video flicker. Luckily, I found a solution that works great. What you do is you make a copy of all your clips and add them right above the current clip in your timeline. Move the new clips to the right by 1 frame and then turn the opacity to 50%. And voila! The flicker is now gone. Next, I created the bloom effect to soften our image and make it look a bit more like film. To do this, you simply take your edit and nest it so the entire edit is wrapped in one clip. After this, you duplicate the layer and add the fast blur effect, turning the blending mode to screen and adjusting the opacity to your liking. Not every film needs this effect, but it's good to have even just a small percentage of bloom to make the cut look more realistic with some blurry imperfections, as AI-produced videos usually seem too clean, in my opinion anyway. Next, I added some film grain that I downloaded from Artlist, added some light leaks, did some final edit tweaks, and added the Dior logo and text. Finally, I recorded myself with a fake French accent and changed it to a woman's voice with altered AI.
Fondu, Dior.
I won Runway's Gen 48 contest twice, using nothing but generative AI tools, editing software, and a lot of coffee. This video is a journal of my ideation, process, and creativity during Gen 48 2nd edition, where I had only 48 hours to create an entire short film generated with AI. The clock begins now. It's 6 a.m. and I'm facing the daunting task to create a 1 to 4 minute AI short film where all videos must be generated in Runway and contain one element from each of 3 categories: character, setting, and object. My first stop is ChatGPT, not for its writing ability, but for its ability to kickstart the brainstorming process. In this competition, it is extremely helpful as there are so many possible combinations of story elements. So I give ChatGPT all the rules for the contest and the list of the 3 elements, and it immediately starts to give me numerous top-level story ideas that I can use as a starting point. I ultimately choose a misunderstood character in an art museum with a lit candle. To make ChatGPT's film summary uniquely mine, I modify it to serve as a loose guide for my desired storytelling approach. Having a loose story idea is key here, because we're not to the point of AI video yet that I can completely trust the desired shot I want will be executed in the way that I want it. It is important to be open to how you want to visually tell the story and adjust it as you go. Next, I create an outline for the story structure, and then finally a shot list of how I want to tell the visual story. If you're unfamiliar with the shot list, it's just that, a list of all the shots I think I'm going to need to tell this story. It's a list to work off of, as not everything that is needed visually is written in the script. This is the part of the director's job that I love the most. Now that I have my story, I need to choose the style of the video, style of my character, and then create a character sheet. I want to go with a sketch on white paper feel, but I just can't seem to nail the look I'm going for. So I pivot. My daughter is obsessed with Monet, so after a few more Midjourney tests, I choose to use the Impressionist painting style for my look and feel. Next, I use Midjourney to create the misunderstood creature, using the prompt: a character sheet of a bizarre and plump creature. The style of the creature should be in the style of a scribble or child's drawing. I need to see the full body front, full body side profile, and the back view of the character in the character sheet, split into 3. Aspect ratio 16:9. Immediately, Midjourney gives me some pretty great results, and with a little tweaking in Photoshop, I am able to create a full body character sheet with layers that I can use later. So now with the character and background style chosen, I need to think of a plan of how I'm going to do this workflow and actually create this film within the time remaining. I briefly try Runway's Gen 1 video to video, but it doesn't give me the results I'm looking for. The new plan is to think of this workflow as something similar to how old school animation works, where you have the background layer separate from the characters. This means creating numerous backgrounds as one layer and the character on a separate cell, ultimately combining them later during animation. I try a few test shots and this process seems that it will work perfectly. Hell yeah. Now I take my shot list and start making all the backgrounds and B-roll shots I need in Midjourney. It's a long process, but I get great results using the new style reference command, where you can give better style context to Midjourney using a photo link as a reference image. After 2 hours of image generation, I have great results, but don't have everything I need for my sets. So I hop over to Runway and decide to try and train a model on the look and feel I'm going for. This takes a while, but it works great to fill in the gaps for my shot list that I am not able to accomplish in Midjourney. 2.5 hours later, I'm still prompting in Midjourney and Runway, but I'm close to finishing the shot list and moving on to animation. It's been 10 hours and I still haven't finished all of the image generation in Runway and Midjourney, but I begin creating the animatic in Premiere Pro to start to build the story. If you are unfamiliar, think of an animatic as a rough cut of the animation, timed to the voiceover and music. For this animatic, I'm going to basically make the film twice, once to figure out my final shots, and then again with the final animations. First, I layer in the B-roll shots and the background images in a rough story order. I add a PNG of my character to the scene and adjust both the size and placement of the character and also the shot, similar to the crop duster method I talked about in a previous video. But in this project, I will finalize my animatic first and then go into Photoshop and recreate these starting animation frames in higher resolution and with more control. With only 35 hours remaining, I am just now ready to start animating some of the clips in Runway. I don't generally multitask, but when under a tight deadline and when you are working alone, it's an important part of the workflow in AI filmmaking. Now I jump back and forth between generating image to video in Runway and recreating the shots with the creature in Photoshop that I roughly sketched out in the animatic. Animation is going well for the B-roll images in Runway. As I wrap up batches of shots, I start up-resing Runway's output videos to 4K MOV files with Topaz AI. My eyes are starting to blur, but I need to do at least 1 more hour of this workflow to keep up the pace. During last year's competition, I was already finished at this time, so I'm getting a little nervous about making the deadline. It's now 11:50 p.m. and I have been at my computer for 17 hours straight. I feel good about the amount of shots I have finalized and added to the cut, and we'll have to finish the rest of the character animation tomorrow. I just can't keep my eyes open enough to generate one more shot. 5 a.m. is my normal wake-up time, and my biological clock doesn't give a fuck that I slept terribly for only 4 hours, dreaming of all the shots I still had to generate. So I'm up, getting coffee, and jumping back into the project to try and pick up where I left off. After a brief inventory of the project, I realize I only have 36 more shots to generate. My life, I better get to it. I've been generating for more than 4 hours already and still have 27 shots left to go. I'm going back and forth between generating character movement with the multi-motion brush tool and fine-tuning the edit at the same time. As I finish more and more video clips, I start to add some light sound effects and finishings to the edit so I can be as far along as possible when the video generation is complete. With only 16 hours remaining, all but 3 shots are finished, and these are critical to the story. 2 of them are close-up shots of the plaque that says unknown. I've tried every prompting technique I know of, and I just can't get Midjourney or Runway to give me the results I'm looking for. Normally I hate DALL-E's image output, but I'm desperate, so I give it a go. And actually, some of the results are much closer to what I need, so I keep going, and eventually, with some help from Photoshop, finalized 2 of the 3 remaining shots. It only took me, hold on, let me look at the clock. 3 hours? Damn, what am I doing with my life? Now there's only one final shot left to create. A time-lapse shot of art patrons checking out the museum's new painting. Creating a time-lapse in Runway is not easy, but I know it'll be a great ending to my film, so I press on. But with a mushed mind and blurry eyes, I'm running on pure artistic adrenaline, unsure of how I'm going to do this technique. After a few deep breaths, the workflow becomes clear to me. Do it in steps. Keeping the final wide shot in mind, I reverse engineer the shot in my head, thinking of what it would take to edit a time-lapse like this if it was real. If real, I would let the camera run for a very long time, watching the venue fill up as more and more people arrive. I would then cut this into 3 or 4 shots with only a simple fade in between them. Easy. So then, with renewed confidence, I say to myself, if there's a way to do this in reality, then why can't I do it with AI? I immediately bring the background plate into Photoshop and start to use generative fill to build my scene, adding in more Monet-styled people in different layers. After building my master scene and cleaning it up a bit, I turn off all the new generative fill layers one at a time and export each instance as its own PNG. Next, I take these individual shots into Runway and animate the people in each shot using multi-motion brush. Then, like I would in a real time-lapse, I simply put these clips together in a sequence and add a camera movement in post. And because I've already made all the finishing layers, all I have to do is drop this clip into my edit and I'm finished. Oh wait, fuck me. I still have to edit the entire sound design as well. With less than 10 hours remaining, I can barely see the screen in front of me, but what I can see looks really, really good. I could go back and try to make it perfect, but I know that if I start down this path, I will never finish in time. As they say, perfect is the enemy of good. So with complete exhaustion, I finally click the export button and upload my entry to the Gen 48 submission page and pass the f*** out. Less than 3 days later, I was thrilled to hear that out of 1,600 signups, I was one of 40 that made the finalist list, and was even more thrilled to find out that a few weeks later that I was one of only 8 winners, winning the Runway Gen 48 2nd Edition Best Art Direction Award.
That's right, folks. The mysterious museum artist has struck again. Come see the new painting with your own eyes.
Runway finally gave us what we wanted. We have first frame and last frame animation. Here's a little clip from my film Unknown. And as you see, there's a first frame and the last frame. And he does a little walk cycle here, which is pretty awesome if you ask me. But look at that. Character motion. Oh, and then he moonwalks back a little bit, but pretty consistent. And let me clean it up here just a little bit. Look, put some posterized time effect on there. We are good. Now I want to try this one where the character turns around. So the first frame is still looking one way. The second frame is another still looking the other. Character just turns around almost flawlessly. If I cut in a little bit earlier, it'll look a lot more fluid. But the consistency as the character turns around is freaking amazing. Here's it cleaned up a little bit for you. I think that looks good. I would probably use this in a clip. Now here's one where I did a first frame and last frame as the same clip and just kind of let it do its thing. It hallucinates a little bit, but I mean, look at that. It grew antlers out of the little bush area. His arm came through the statue a little bit, but this is without any direction from me. I just put the image in twice. Let's watch it one more time. I love how he kind of leans back and somewhat stays behind the statue, and then the twigs kind of snap off him. And that's just so awesome. This is one of my favorites. I put a still images first and last here, and with the prompt, the people do a crazy dance. Or the people dance a crazy dance. And here they are. They're doing some sort of YMCA from the Impressionist era, and I don't know who that guy. I think he's a ghost. Let's watch that again. Here he comes in. He's conducting them. YMCA, and then his arm breaks and they move. Either way, it's a really funny one, but this is my favorite. I think they're all doing like some sort of line dance. Love the runway dance arm movement. It looks very similar to my aunt, who's a choreographer's choreography. I love the little pink smoke there. Look at these guys. They're just getting down. I could watch this all day long. Well, this is just a quick preview of the first frame, last frame, new capabilities in Gen 3 Alpha Turbo. If you have Runway, go check it out. It's available for everybody right now.
The ship of death has a new captain. He brings the plague and something far more sinister. He rises with the night, and with him, death follows. Beware the house of Nosferatu. You cannot kill what is already dead.
No, this wasn't a trailer for the new Nosferatu reboot, but was an experiment in remastering old film with the Runway's new Gen 3 Alpha video-to-video model. As you've probably seen by now, the model allows for style transfers of existing videos, and let me tell you, it's a game changer compared to its Gen 1 predecessor. This weekend, I was unfortunately down with a cold and couldn't go out and shoot some custom footage. So while I was recovering and watching football, I had to think of a way to experiment with video-to-video. With Halloween around the corner, I thought that remastering a classic vampire film was a perfect choice. Enter Nosferatu. The process was pretty straightforward. I started by downloading the free public domain film and brought it into Adobe Premiere. I then selected key moments from the film, changed the aspect ratio to 16:9, and then exported the individual clips. I then went into Runway ML and began generating the clips with Gen 3 Alpha.
It took a long time to find the right look and feel, but once I did, I began generating clip by clip, slightly adjusting the prompt and structure transformation slider for each scene. Once I had enough clips for a short trailer, I moved over to Topaz Video AI to upscale them to 4K. Once I had my footage ready, I finalized the edits in Premiere Pro, generated some music with stable audio, and voiceover and sound effects with 11 Labs. Now, let's take a look at the results. Here's a side-by-side comparison of the original footage versus the remastered version. I know I said I was remastering an old classic, but as you can tell, some clips just didn't work. Overall, I generated 290 takes to make the 30-second trailer, which is not a great ratio. Obviously, there's no character consistency either, but at this point, Gen 3 is still in alpha, and I cannot wait to see what this model is capable of once it's fully released. So can we call it regenerating, reanimating, remastering? I don't know or really care, to be honest, but as you can see, this new video-to-video model is off to a good start. What have your experiments looked like with Gen 3 Alpha video-to-video? Be sure to add the links in the comments below.
Holy Hermes wearing winged wedges, Runway just released yet another new model, Gen 3 Alpha Turbo. If Gen 3 Alpha wasn't enough, Gen 3 Alpha Turbo is supposed to be 7 times faster than the original Gen 3 Alpha model. So today we're going to put these two models toe-to-toe to see if Runway's claims of 7 times faster is really true. And this first scene is, we follow the woman as she walks towards the water. Natural scene movement. Gonna hit generate, and then stopwatch and go again. And here it goes, super fast motion. So don't waste some of your life, but it ends up being around minute and 45, minute 47 seconds for 2 generations, which all in all for 10 seconds is not bad. Is that a tummy in the back there? Not quite sure. Okay, here we go. And here is Gen Alpha Turbo. And we're about 5-6 seconds in, and it's lightning fast. Just absolutely, wow. I am blown away by how fast this is. This is crazy. We go from like 64 seconds to, I don't even know if I started the timer right. I'll have to go back and look at that. But yeah, around 26 seconds. Probably adjusting for inflation, which is going to be around 28 to 23. This one, oh wow. Nice little hair flip there. Some lens flare. Double hair flip. I'm going to say that one's usable. And, you know, we have to remember here with this is I'm only doing 2 generations for each one and doing them at the same time. So let's watch it again. This is Gen Alpha. This is blown up to 1080. And some imperfections there. I may not have used this one. Here it is again. I may not have used this clip if I was using this for a project. Probably would re-roll this about 15, 20 times, maybe even more than that, to see what I'm working with. But wow, that hair flip is just, I would find somewhere for that in any cut that I was working on. Okay, we're gonna go on to the second clip here, which is some sort of silver angel. The angel flies upward as it raises its sword with both hands. And let's go 2 generations. And I'm waiting for, yep, there we go. Woo, speeding through time. So we're coming in at around minute 38, minute 39. And let's watch this first one here. Okay, kind of just floats there. But I think with a little better prompting and some more re-rolls, this could go really well. Here goes to turbo. Really quick, generate, double generate, and we're gonna start. Yep, oh, maybe a couple seconds behind on this one, but we will adjust afterwards and adjust again. Lightning fast. Holy moly. I mean, we're talking 2 clips in around 20 seconds. About 21 seconds. Jeez. Oh, wow. Look at that. Oh my God, that's so much better than the regular alpha. Love the background. Love how it's hanging onto the sword in the back. The face morphed a little bit. Yeah, a couple more re-rolls. Maybe changing the prompt up a bit. Close to production ready, at least for cool YouTube videos. Okay, now we're gonna go to this robot running on a beach, which will most likely be the thumbnail image, because I love having robots as my thumbnails. Okay, the prompt for this one is going to be slow zoom in on the robot as he runs along the beach. Waves with natural ocean movement behind the robot. Okay, we're gonna hit generate and we're spinning things, so we start clock when we see percentage. Okay, go. And now we wait. Okay, now we're here. And this is Gen 3 Alpha. First clip is, okay, waves look pretty good. Robot looks like a robot. Some weird stuff happening on the ground. Oh man, it got so close on just the first go. Look at that water splashing up. If there was water down there, that would be absolutely perfect. Okay, this guy's going into the Olympics for breakdancing. Okay, now over to Gen 3 Alpha Turbo. And generate, and okay, I think I may have hit that a little prematurely, but whatever. It's gonna be fast anyway. Wow, I mean, this one's flying. I wonder if it's because I'm generating 2 at a time, or if it's the time of the day, probably the busiest time of the day to be doing these tests, but you know, this is the time that I have. So we're already, okay, about 22 seconds, and we have 2 clips. I mean, it's almost real time if they're 10 seconds each. So, okay, the sand is kind of going in the wrong direction, but that's pretty damn cool. Couple more rerolls, new prompts. We'll get there. Please be breakdancing. No, but he's shaking his fist like a old man who's really mad at the ocean. So this is Gen 3 Alpha. And the prompt is, the 2 devils open their eyes as they lean in to kiss each other on the lips. And we're going to go. I'll try to average these out and give an average score at the end and then see what it looks like. But we're coming in always around the same time. Around 1:30, 1:40 something. That's good enough for me. Okay, let's see this. Didn't follow my prompt very well, but it's very Gen 3 Alpha with the zoom in, because I didn't give it any camera motion in the prompting. Let's watch it again. Zoom in. On the one on the right, you're going to start seeing some like clay-like texture. Wow, that is really cool. Okay, well, we're going to now try Gen 3 Alpha Turbo. And same prompt. Gonna hit generate twice. Okay, they're still not kissing, but they're like parallaxing in 3D space. That's pretty cool. Maybe I could eventually get it there with like 20 or 30 rerolls. And their heads are kind of tilting in that parallax 3D space. It's almost like a wandering camera. But the fact, I mean, look at how consistent these things are. All right, there you have it, the speed test. It's around 1:30, 1:40 for Gen 3 Alpha. And for Gen 3 Alpha Turbo, around 20 seconds. So if you do that calculation, that's about 5 times faster for Turbo. It's not quite 7, as they claim, but as I said, this wasn't a super scientific test.
If you're unfamiliar with Frames, it's Runway's new AI image model, and they've been working on it for a very long time. I'm super excited to have early access, and I'm just blown away by what I've seen so far. Once you're in Runway, you'll see right at the top, introducing Frames, our most advanced base model for image generation, offering unprecedented stylistic control. Before getting into the model, I always like to look at the prompting guides and see how they suggest prompting. Prompting basics. Frames prompting is designed to support a wide variety of structures, keywords, and styles. You can prompt from the following elements with Frames: subject, scene, composition, lighting, color, style, focus, angle, text, and mood. I'm going to go ahead and highlight these and use these as the basis for my prompt for the first test here. You can see here, it's you can do simple prompting, you can do detailed prompting. What doesn't work is talking to it like an LLM. That's kind of obvious if you've played around with Runway. That's just not how their video model works. So I assume that the image model would work very similar. And then no negative phrasing. So not, you would want to say a bald man versus a man with no hair. They have some great prompt keywords here for the aesthetic styles. They break down what the keyword collection looks like and an example prompt to get that type of output. There are more styles that exist than are listed here, but you have to play around with it in order to figure it out. Okay, here's some info on their pricing. It's 32 credits for 4 images. You can explore it with unlimited plans. Text is the base input, which is pretty obvious. The max prompt size is 1,000 characters, and you have, I think, 7 different aspect ratios here, with the resolution as 1080p. Okay, let's jump in and take a look. All right, here it is. It's a session that is just like a video session, but
as you can see at the top here, there's an image and a video tab. They have some examples right up front to show you what a prompt would look like. If you click on this image here, it'll show you how to get that output. So it's really important to learn how to prompt correctly within a new generator. For the first prompt, I'm just going to list all the elements that you can use in a prompt to see if it helps us figure out how to prompt better. I'm going to try it with these definers and the colons here, but we can kind of go from there and see if it actually works. Okay, for this first one, I'm just going to try this element-based prompting. The subject is a robot from the 1980s. The scene is a robot orders a fountain drink from a walk-up fast food counter. Behind him, two women look at him flirtatiously. Composition is a wide shot of the scene. Robot on the right side of the frame, the women on the left. Lighting, high-key lighting with halation effects. Color, muted, cinematic colors. Style is cinematic with Kodak 35mm film, and the focus is on the robot and the women with a low wide angle and a fun and hopeful mood. So we'll see if that works. Pretty quickly here we get our results back, and that's pretty close to what I was looking for. A lot of the elements that were there, I didn't really define what the robot looked like. I just kind of said a robot from the 1980s, so I'll give it a little bit of grace there. Looks like there's some AI weirdness in this, but obviously we would re-roll a bunch of different times. That one's cool, a little too futuristic for what I'm looking for. So I'm gonna maybe try adding one of these styles on top of it. Let's see. Oh, high contrast warm. That sounds right. Didn't add anything to the prompt. So maybe I think you just click through, hit generate. Oh yeah, this is much closer to what I was envisioning. Wow, the women are there flirting with them. Looks like they're like behind the counter, but that's okay. They're on the left side of the frame. This one's great. This is a little bit more retro futuristic. I guess modern futuristic, since retro futuristic is the 60s. I don't think that there's an editing feature within this new model yet, but it took Midjourney a very long time to have that come out. So I'm not saying it's not gonna happen, it's just not there quite yet. Okay, this one is with the aesthetic range of 5. So I wanted to see, okay, that almost is too far. So you can see with the higher aesthetic range all the way up, it kind of goes away from what the prompt is. So let's bring it back down to 3 and see what that looks like. Okay, dead on. 3 is right in the middle. It's very much what I was going for. Definitely play around with the aesthetic range slider to test to see what your outputs are. And I mean, look at this. I think they probably focused on diversity with this, because with every 4 images, you can see, because I didn't specify the people or what the robots look like, they really went diverse with it, but not overboard. But I think actually diverse, which is interesting. Oh, this is a cool feature that you can add a tag. Let's see what this does here. Love this. Oh, love this. I can't type. Love this. Oh, cool. So I can pick a color. So now I can start tagging the images that I like. So let's actually try this one as a video. I'm gonna change the prompt to something like the woman reached for the robot's hand in a flirtatious way. All right, let's see how that works. Oh, this is so great. You can just do this all right within the same workflow. You can tag them now. You can give custom tags and not even just colors. You can write into the tags what you want it to look like. So here we go with Gen 3 Alpha Turbo. It's super fast, obviously. And our image that we just generated is now a video. We didn't even have to leave the UI. It needs work. It needs prompting work, and it needs, we can try a different model with it, see if that works. We'll do the same prompt, but we know what we get with video generations from any company and from any model. You need multiple rerolls to get the scene right and to figure it out. But that's not what this video is about. So I'm pretty happy with it though, even though it's not perfect. Okay, so let's go back to their help center, the aesthetic styles, and I'm just gonna copy their example prompt and change a few things. just to save time with exploration so that we can try and get some more outcomes. So we have the full glitchy abstract prompt here, and I'm just going to change a woman wearing an avant-garde outfit with cascading layers of flowing fabric to a cyborg woman wearing a bubbly avant-garde outfit. And we'll just see how that works. Everything else I'll leave the same. I'm going to take off the style because I want it to just focus on the prompt here for this. Okay, that's kind of what the prompt showed, the example showed. Oh, that one's great. Bubbles coming straight out of it. I guess on the left here, you can go up and down to see the different outcomes. Oh, that one's cool. Oh, this one, it's got the glitch, it's got the bubbles, it's got the retro futuristic cyborg stuff. That one's like a prom dress. Okay, this is awesome. Not a lot of errors either. But let's click through here. Okay, if you click right, it takes you to the next batch of generations as opposed to the next image. So that's a little confusing, but we can get through it. Because I wasn't very specific, they've gone and made it super diverse. So that's really awesome. So let's try the vary button here. And oh, it looks like it varied everything except the image that I clicked it on. That's interesting. But the other outcomes are pretty good. And let's use this one in a video. Yeah, I'm not gonna leave the same text prompt, obviously, we'll change it. But I'll leave a couple elements here, the abstract and the glitchy cinematic. So what do we wanna have the woman do? So we'll have an abstract, glitchy cinematic shot of a futuristic woman. She moves in a dance-like fashion, turning towards the camera. Should we say to seduce? No. Turning towards the camera as if flirting. Yeah. The glitches are kind of annoying within there, but if I was using this for a film or a video, I would probably try to do something more clean and then add the glitches effects later. But the movement of the woman is great. But let's try another one. Okay, so let's try vaporwave. Okay, pretty quick here. Wow, this is like exactly the style. When I was making my film Midnight Television, I could have used this so much and done so much with it. But yeah, wow, it just nailed this aesthetic. Okay, let's try one more here. This disposable film one looked pretty good, so I'm gonna just copy this prompt. And always copy prompts just to start. Don't try to be crazy right off the bat. But I'm gonna change a few things here. I'm gonna just change what's happening in this. So I want the flash photography to be taken at night of a man, let's say eating a very large corn on the cob at a state fair. We'll do 1, aesthetic range 1. Let's go to 3. That's probably the one I'm gonna use. And then we'll do 5 as well. So, okay, we come back immediately. Looks like the first round, AI people don't know how to eat corn, apparently, corn on the cob. So we'll just kind of, yeah, we'll save the comments for that. Oh, that one's great. That's the shot. You know, the diversity of people is great. That guy's great. Yeah. This is the one. Looks like he grew that and won it at the fair on a disposable camera. So, and then this was 5. This was all the way up. That was 3 for the one that I chose, and 5 all the way up gives you wildly different results. This one's kind of cool. Looks like a giant piece of corn. I would consider that one, but this is all over the place. Yeah, people need to learn how to eat corn on the cob. It's really kind of a lost art.
As I'm sure you've heard, SORA has launched today. It does cool things like text to video, image to video. I was most impressed with the storyboard feature. Now I could do a full product demo, but instead I'm going to do a good old-fashioned
Video, come competition.
That's right, we're going to do an image to video competition versus SORA, Gen 3 Alpha from RUNWAY, Kling, and Luma AI. Okay, all these clips are from my latest music video, and we'll jump right in with SORA. Okay, here we have Santa walking with bags, and the fidelity is amazing. Oh, it did a cut scene, which still looks good and has pretty much the same person there. Different color beard, handheld footage. It looks, wow, looks really good. Okay, now this is RUNWAY. A little slower, but still pretty decent quality. I think I used this shot in the music video. Fidelity is not the same as SORA, but... And then here's Luma. Still looks pretty good. All right, this one is SORA, and Rudolph drives away. Oh, he's got a person arm, but I'm sure with prompting I could fix that. But wow, the head tilt back. I 100% would have used this over the current shot. And here's the Kling shot, which still looks good. I believe I used this in the video. And here it is again. Drives, but not a lot of movement on the reindeer. And here's Luma, which is some movement on the head and good camera movement. Here is some boots, which I wanted to crush the lights, and SORA did not do that. It created a pretty wonky scene no matter what I did with the prompting. And here we have RUNWAY. I think I did 2 generations of this, but I couldn't get the boots to move without it being wonky either. So both RUNWAY and SORA were similar. This was Luma, and it looked pretty good. Didn't move, but it still turns. This is SORA. Great shot of the background and the foreground, but the hair is a little wonky. This is the one that was used in the music video. This is Gen 3. Looks pretty good. I'd still probably pick this one over the SORA one, but I still need to work with the prompting there. And then this shot here is Luma again, and not too bad if you ask me. I think I used this one in the music video as well. This is SORA. No matter what I did, smoke kept coming from his butt, and he walks a little weird. Gen 3, this is slow, but I loved the lighting going in and out, and I loved the smoke that was there. Here's Luma again, and it looks, fairly good, a little bit plasticky. Movements are not as natural. Actually, the walk cycle looked a little bit like SORA.
Man, it's Santa, no caps, red suit, no mask. Used to drop joy, now I'm haunted by the past. Streets cold like my pole, but the vibe straight heat. Y'all forgot about the magic, now it's all concrete. Slide through the city, slay low like a ladder. Gifts in the trunk, but the world's on my back. Kids want Gucci, parents playing the fool. Acting like the season's just another hustle tool. Naughty and nice, ain't no line to divide. They all playing angles, everybody lie. Chimneys full of smoke, but it ain't from the fire. Used to be hope here, now it's all desire. I'm riding through the night, shadow in the snow. Ho ho ho, nah man, I don't even know. The city's out for blood, ain't no room for dreams. Santa lost in the grind, caught between the screams. Northside steppers, reindeer strap. If they shoot for my sleigh, Rudolph's clapping back. Mrs. Claus hit my line saying, baby, come home. But I'm stuck in the trenches where the love's long gone. Cookies on the plate, but the milk gone sour. Used to bless the block, now I'm counting the hours. Elves in the workshop started moving them packs. Candy cane licks turn to cash and stacks. This ain't no wonderland, it's a war on the soul. Got me second guessing what I'm doing this for. Dope boys on the corner, kids ducking the cops while I'm riding dirty. Gift bags full, I'm riding through the night. Shadow in the snow, ho ho ho, nah man, I don't even know. The city's out for blood, ain't no room for dreams. Santa lost in the grind, caught between the screams. They scream my name, but I ain't no savior. Just a man in the game with some bad behavior. North Pole to the shot, I've seen it all fall. The season ain't holy, it's just a free-for-all. So I'm riding solo, no sleigh bells ring. Just the cold wind blowing and the pain it brings. Ain't no peace this year, just another lost cause. Santa Claus in the gutter breaking all his own laws.
Recently, I made a rap video using Runway Act 1, and I got some attention over on Reddit and other social platforms. But I wanted to see if I could replicate what I did here with the lip sync using SORA, Runway Act 1, and Tempolar for the music. To get started, I always start with the Midjourney image, and it takes some time to figure out what it is by adjusting the prompt, doing tweaks from generation to generation, but I was slowly defining the style I was looking for. And here, I finally found one here, this angry looking elf. I said, this is perfect. Let's take this and take it into Runway Act 1 just to give it a little test. But then I forgot that Runway Act 1 needs 16 by 9, 9 by 16, even though that's the final output. So I first take the image, put it into Act 1 just to make sure it sees the character as a human face, and did some adjusting here, and oh, thank God, it does. So then I can take that image and put it right into SORA and use the prompt. An angry Christmas elf looks into the camera lens. The camera moves extremely slow as it makes its way around the elf as if it were orbiting shot in a music video. The elf never breaks his gaze with the camera, but has natural movements of his arms, shoulders, and eyes. And I changed it to 720p, just hit create video. And while that was baking, I decided to try a new website called Tempolar. It's a royalty-free music site that you can search for pre-existing music, but also has some really cool features that allow you to generate music that you're looking for. As you can see here, I just entered an AI search for a Christmas rap for an angry elf, and automatically it started generating 2 songs for me. But in addition to that, it brought up what it saw as the prompt, which was an angry elf stomping around. And then it gave me 4 different options, like almost 4 different buckets of style of music to choose from. And this is one of the coolest features that I've seen in a royalty-free music library. So it automatically gives you a really cool selection to choose from. And after I spent some time searching through the library that they curated, my music tracks that I generated were done, and they sound really freaking awesome. I'm gonna save that one, but you can also share, you could regenerate one, and it has a lot of different options to do that regeneration with. I'm not gonna do that today, but if I wanted to change the tonality or the key, the BPM, the genre, I could do that all right here. But this is a really cool feature, is you can upload an image, just any image, and it'll take that as the prompt to create the music. So I uploaded my elf, and immediately it started creating music for me. Really awesome holiday tune. And although this isn't what I ultimately need for my rap video that I'm making with the elf, it's still a great song. It was really cool that it saw that this was a Christmas image and generated songs that were like the image. What I wanted to do for this is to create a really short, quick rap. And so I was able to go into their custom mode, turn on the vocals, and generate some lyrics. I went through and I adjusted it to a couple different times to get it right, just like you would for any sort of Gen AI. I chose the style of music as West Coast rap with holiday add-on, titled it Angry Elf. And after just a couple of re-rolls of tweaking, I found the song that I wanted to use. I really like this website. It's really fun to use, and I hope that you give it a try. Okay, now that we have our track, we can go back and finish our TikTok rap video. So this is the initial image straight from SORA. And cool, it has like a nice cut. That's something that SORA does quite frequently is it'll generate a couple seconds, give you an option, and then you can cut. And at first I was a little taken aback by this because I said, man, it just won't stick with any one style. But then using the recut feature, you can really tell it what to do and hone in the shot that you want. So with this one, it's gonna need about 3, it's got 3 different shots in one, but I like the middle one.
So what I'm gonna do is just scale this back until the end of the shot that I want. And I could do the front at the same time, but what I've learned is it's probably better for now anyway, just to do one edit at a time. So we're gonna let that one go and bake. Wasn't this fast in real time, but after it came back, we can see that there's the shot that I like, the elf bumping around. We have a really cool background. He crosses his arms. And then this is the second part. And cool, it keeps consistent with the scene, and we have almost a full shot. So I have to go back into recut and then pull this back just a little bit until I get to that second scene that I got there. And there it is. Hit create. And just a few minutes it came back with a pretty solid cut all the way through. So for what I'm doing today, this is totally usable. The entire 20 seconds are consistent. I'm gonna download this without the watermark and bring it into Runway and use Act 1 to do the lip sync and performance capture. Okay, so now it's into Runway, and I'm going to sync up the track that I picked within Tempolar and use Runway Act 1 to do the performance. When the performance was done, I just hit generate, and within a couple of minutes, I got back one roll. Amazing fidelity. It keeps the SORA video almost intact to the way it was, adds the lip syncing and my performance to it, and it's just a complete video. So then I brought it into my editor, which is Adobe Premiere. And this is something I found that was really interesting throughout the process, is when I exported from SORA, it was at 720p. I then up-resed it to 4K to bring it into Runway. But then when I was in Runway and had the final output, it was at 1080p, which Runway never exports at. I've talked to a few others and they have had that same thing occasionally. So maybe there's something in the works there with Runway. We'll have to see. So I continued my edit as normal, synced up the lips to the right track from Tempolar. And since this was a one-shot, one-take video, the editing part was pretty much done. But I do this trick to soften the image a little bit. I duplicate the video file to another layer, and then I add a Gaussian blur effect. I used to use fast blur, but they got rid of it in Premiere. And then I basically blur the video, giving it just a little bit of haze there. And I adjust the opacity to bring it down a little bit. And then it just kind of takes that AI edge off just a little bit. So then I went and did some color correction, put it in the right frame and setting, and we have ourselves a TikTok / Reels 9:16 video.
Workshop we taught all day. No time for rest, no time to play. No time, our sprit's frayed. This isn't the Christmas way.
Has working with AI video aged you? It definitely has me. I wanted to test out Runway's Restyle video feature, so I thought no better way than to age myself. To do so, I just loaded a driving video into Runway, then clicked on this little button down here, which brings up a first frame download. I was able to take that frame and up-res it using Topaz Photo AI, and then I dropped it into Photoshop using their neural filters, specifically the Smart Portrait, with some tweaks really quick. Made myself looked old, just adjusted the sliders to how I thought I would look in about 10-15 years, exported that, brought that right back into Runway. There's a nice little upload button right here. And I didn't even do any sort of prompting. I just uploaded it, hit generate, and a few minutes later had a new video of me being old. That needed to be upscaled using Topaz Video AI to match the resolution of the driving video, which was 1080p. Once that was done, I brought it into Adobe Premiere, layered the driving video and the new video from Runway on top of each other and made sure that they matched. And then I simply just did a quick mask over my new old face, and then had to adjust the position of my new head to make sure that it matched the rest of the clip. It was off a little bit, just that's what Runway does with their thing. And then I had to go through and adjust the mask, just doing like little tweaks here and there to make sure it fit quite well. And eventually I got a nice working video of me young, and then with a fade transitioning to old. Thought this was a great start, so I turned all the clips into a nested sequence
and did a color correction on top of that, tweaking it just to blend the two layers together, and then also going back into the original clip and doing some adjustments to make sure that they matched and seeing the same skin tone and things like that. Once that was complete, I duplicated the layer and added a Gaussian blur, blurred the top layer just to make it take a little bit of the edge off. So you blur the top layer, and then I pulled back on the opacity just so it just slightly blurry to add just a little bit of camera blur to the effect. Most people wouldn't even notice it. So here we go. Here's me turning old. I can't wait to explore Runway's new feature more. I'd like to see what you guys are doing. As we know, Google has been entering VO2 into everything. And the most recent addition is to their Whisk product, which is within the video effects and image effects library. When you finally get access to Whisk from Google, you'll open your browser and it'll look like this. If you've already played around with Whisk, you'll see that it's pretty much the same, except for up in the top here, right next to the image button, you have a video button. Over here to the left, you have a box here where you can put your subject, scene, or style. Just to kind of set the tone, I'm gonna go ahead and do the Inspire Me. When you see over here, we have dropped in a picture of a beautiful woman in a cartoon style, and the scene is almost like the background here. And within that, we have like this really awesome looking foresty sci-fi world, and the style is anime. The automatic prompt that it gave here is a subject riding a flying bike through the city, leaving behind streaks of light. So when you first hit submit, it'll take a minute here and it will cook. And while it does that, okay. So then we get these images back here, and it's pretty consistent to the input that we put in. As you'll see here, we have the woman with the pink hair in her pajamas, and it's very consistent with the kind of sci-fi foresty world and in an anime style. It didn't match the exact style of this anime, but I think with a little bit of playing, you could get it there, and probably with some clever prompting. But anyway, we have this awesome image. Let's see, which one do I like best? I like this one here on the left best. And we could go in and refine it if we wanted to. If we wanted to say, take out the red streak. Well, it would help if you spelt the word red white right. And as you see here, it's going to cook again, and it should give us a similar image hopefully without this red streak of light. If I need to be more specific in that, we'll see. And there we go. And for some reason, when we took out the red streak of light, it put her on a magical bike, which I actually think is almost cooler. So I love this image, and I'm ready to animate it. I'm going to go over here to animate, click the animate button. And this is where you give it a prompt. So let's say the woman, and you can be really simple with these prompts. The woman rides her magic bike on a wave of blue light. And just like that, we are going to be cooking a video. Whisk is in early access right now. So if you don't have it and you don't see this within Google Labs, then it's not a big deal. It should be rolling out to everybody hopefully shortly. Okay, and here we go. Here's our first video. And there she is. I mean, look at those, man, look at those legs. She's really riding a bike. It followed my prompt almost perfectly. Let's watch that again. I mean, it looks anime style. She kind of blinks and talks a little bit, and there's a little distortion on her mouth, but I think with some clever prompting that we should be able to take care of that. Once you create images and once you create videos, you can click over here and you can see your video library. And if you want to like them or heart them, they will appear over here if you want to favor them. So let's try it again. I'm gonna clear out everything. We'll start from scratch. I'm going to use my own. When you're inputting the images into Whisk, you can either enter text, and if you don't have like a particular style or a subject that you want in there, or you can upload an image. So for this next test, I'm going to just upload my own images. So we're going to start with the subject, which is like a character or a person.
You click upload. I have gone ahead and made some folders here. Being organized is always important. So we're gonna start with, I love this, here we go. Easter's coming up, so we'll start with this. And it said that file is too large. You can only upload up to 10 megabytes. So we'll have to go and find one that is slightly lower. So let's go ahead and look at this anthropological dog here. And there he is, cute little dog. And then next we're gonna put in the scene. And the scene is like the background, right? Or the area that we want to be. So we're gonna go ahead and upload an image here. And I'm gonna go to my scenes. And I'm gonna put this guy in a creepy arcade. I hope this is less than 10. Awesome. You can either leave the style blank, but I'm gonna go ahead and just take it a little step further, and I'm gonna give a prompt for the style. So I'm gonna say 35 millimeter film, cinematic, muted colors. Okay, so now we have our subject, we have our scene, and we have our style here. It does generate an image here, so it takes a minute based on the prompt, but that's pretty cool if you don't have to go to Midjourney or Rev or any of the other image generation sites to load it in here. So then we're gonna give it a prompt. The dog wanders through a haunted arcade at night in the 1980s. I love the 80s vibe. It's very nostalgic, so we're just gonna go ahead and go with that. So just like our previous one, it's going to create an image. And Whisk has been doing something interesting, and I'm not sure if this is just because it's in the experimental phase or if that's just the way that it's going to work. But if you see here, when we generated our image of the woman on the flying bike, it gave us 2 images. But now when we're in this kind of cascading mode and we have our video here, or our refined image, sorry, here, it only generates 1 image. But if we did this again, you'll see it generates 2. So it's a little quirk for now, but you know, I think they'll work it out, or it'll just be a product quirk. So I love all of these images here. If you click on it, you can see it gives you the full prompt that it did to get this image. So let's go over here. I want to start with, I like the brown eyes here. It's looking off camera, maybe not. We got a little weird hand thing there. So we'll do this one. We're gonna hit animate. And just as always, I'm gonna do a prompt here. Say the dog walks away from the camera and plays an arcade game. Okay, we'll see how that looks. And we can do one or two things. We can sit here and let it cook, but if I exit out here, we can also go into the little image feature here, or the video feature here, and you'll see that it's cooking over here. So if we wanted to work in parallel and maybe do a couple different things at once, we can. So I'm gonna do just that for this next one. We're gonna clear out these images here, and I'm gonna just bring in some new ones. So we'll start with the character, and I'm gonna want to bring in, let's do this girl in the mall. Hopefully that's big enough. Yep, or small enough. And with the style, oh yeah, this is kind of like a Monet type feel. So it's analyzing the image, and I don't believe it took my other one because it never finished analyzing. And I think what it's actually doing is building the prompt as it analyzes. Okay, now we'll go back to the scene here. Okay, well this will be 2 kind of Monet looks, but that's okay. This is the back corner of an art museum. And there we go, we see it. So we'll make the prompt, the girl looks at paintings in an art museum. Again, I'm just gonna leave it because I am too tired to correct my spelling, but Google's gonna understand. So as that cooks over here, we'll go back and we'll look at our video of the dog. And there it is. Oh man, right with, look at, okay, it made it a man in a dog suit, which is fine. That was kind of the whole point of it. Great. I mean, that's Look at that fidelity, it's totally usable. So we're gonna go back and check on our girl here. And this actually did a pretty good job. It didn't really put her as a Monet in that kind of style, but I like it. I really like this image. She does look more painterly here. Let's go ahead and go with this one. So we're gonna take it and turn it into video. And let's say the girl steals the painting off the wall. I really hope that they don't gate me for this. It looks like it's gonna go. Okay, all right, and here is our painting of a woman. Let's see, I don't know if doesn't look, oh, okay, so she's not stealing, but she's actually putting it back. I mean, maybe we could reverse that, but I'm guessing not. But maybe with a little more prompting, we could get more specific with it. So, you know, it's not perfect right off the bat. We're gonna have to take our time. We're gonna have to do multiple generations, but you know, the fidelity is there, and just living within this Whisk ecosystem is a really fun way to do this, especially with a consistent character. Okay, there you have it. Now you know how to use Whisk by entering a subject, a scene, and a style using both images and text prompts, but also stay within the Google ecosystem of using Imagen and the VO2 models. So this was a fan-made film for Mighty Morphin Power Rangers Angel Grove, a gritty reboot made with Kling 2.0. Kling 2.0 rolls out today. Once you log into your Kling account, go to the Video Generation tab and click on Kling 2.0 Master. Right now it has a text-to-video and image-to-video feature. So I'm going to start with text-to-video. I had a prompt already pre-made here, the Mighty Morphin Red Ranger and Epic Scene. Click on 2.0, and it immediately gives me a really good video of what it looks like a Power Ranger. Not, you know, the official intellectual property of it. So I should probably go forward with this, but since this is a fan-made film, I think that I can do a little bit better. I love that look though, and the adherence is great. So I'm going to go ahead and try image to video using some images I made in Midjourney. I'm going to keep the prompt mostly the same and just change the last part and what color ranger it is to change the camera movement and style. And while that bakes in Kling, I'm going to go ahead and go back to Midjourney and generate more images for me to test, cleaning them up and getting them ready along the way. So this is the first image to video output from Kling 2.0, and it looks pretty good. It's circling around the Pink Ranger, but it does kind of fall apart all over the place. Looks very CGI, so I probably need to go back to the prompting and change that a little bit. But next I'm going to try the negative prompting. So I'm going to add this Blue Ranger image in and change some of the prompting, but this time I'm going to add in a negative prompt to blur, bad quality, fast movements, unnatural movements, CGI, animation. And let's see how that looks. So it's going to take a while to bake because that's Kling. So I'm going to go back and look at some of the original generations I had without the negative prompting. And as you'll see here, the camera movement's great. I love the action, but it just gives it that CGI feel. This one was a little bit better without the negative prompt. The prompt adherence is really great. It does the camera movement I asked, but it kind of turns everything plasticky right off the bat, especially, yeah, this one too. Very CGI looking. So now the negative prompting generations are done, and just right off the bat, you can tell the difference. I mean, look at that. He's breathing heavily in and out, changing his stance, doing some power moves. You know, the camera op probably should have boomed up when he went out of frame, but you know, we're working with generative video here. So, I mean, just look at this. It looks so photoreal. The movements, the breathing,
absolutely blown away. So it seems like that negative prompting made the world of difference here. And so I just left that negative prompt in, and then I go back and add in my original images that I created and do it all again with the negative prompting. Kling does take a long time to generate. It's one of the downfalls of it right now, but you can't match the quality of the output and the fidelity here. So try sticking with the negative prompting if it's not exactly hitting what you want. But as you see in the trailer here, after working with it some time, the outcome became amazing. After I finished generating all my images, I just kind of took it into my editor as normal, edited, added some features such as grain, did a lot of color correction, and then I could go back and see what shots were missing. And a lot of those were the big monsters and the fights with Megazord. So I slowly went shot by shot, created new images in Midjourney, and then I would use them as starting points in order to get the rest of the amazing shots here for the trailer. So I can't wait to see what you guys come up with Kling 2.0 and when the rest of the features roll out. There were some updates to their colors model and some of their other models in this. I didn't get a chance to test those, but initially right off the bat, I thought this was a great update. Love to see what you guys come up with. As always, be well, do good, and make awesome things.